Right now, we are joining us is Narayan Shroff, investment head of Barclays from Mumbai. Very good afternoon to Mr. Shroff. First of all, what is your reaction to the budget so far? What is India Inc. thinking about this budget?
No, absolutely. Like I said, Sumit, yesterday as well, we were discussing absolutely in line with that. It is a growth-oriented investment and capex-oriented budget. I think it's a fine balance between what one would call inclusiveness or welfare, capex absolutely being at the priority with this multiplier effect. And then, of course, I would put it like, the budget has been presented just like a large corporate would present its budget in terms of that proficiency, and with the right focus on key winners. So you're backing all your winners, whether it is the startup ecosystem, whether it's the green transition, whether it is your industry and manufacturing, Make in India, Nirbhar Bharat. So I think, across the board is absolutely what one would have wanted.
And talking about the markets, Mr. Shroff, well, today morning we saw at one point of time, Sensex jumped 1,000 points. But as we speak, it's come down drastically. It's up by just 300 points. So is it more profit booking happening there, or are they now getting more clarity on the budget blueprint?
No, so I think there were some expectations in the market with respect to taxation. There were also about inclusion of, from one market perspective, there was expectation around, some changes which will help inclusion of the G-Sex into the global bond indices. So I think on those sides, the market is taking a backseat. But I think overall, it is a growth-oriented one. So it'll be, going back to the bottom up. To the winners and then backing them and playing the growth in the more medium term. So I wouldn't go by a few 100 points on the market, because at this base that kind of volatility is bound to happen. I think the news is out now, so the market's going to focus back on global and local fundamentals that it was focusing before the budget.
Okay, and one important thing this time has happened, that 30% tax on the transfer of virtual digital assets. Can you clarify what is your understanding of this, and how far is the impact of this particular decision?
Yes, so see, this has been a topic of great interest and discussions globally. I think, without getting into more details around the larger space, but essentially the government is making sure that the base is laid out for what would get defined in the coming months and years. It's already laid down about the digital currency by the RBI in FY22 itself. So 23. So let's see how it plays out, but it basically lays that foundation. The details would be in the documents that come out, but I haven't gone through that. But the whole idea would be to have an even base on a lot of these innovation that is happening in the blockchain world.
And digital rupee, RBI will bring it this year. How do you see this step? How will it contribute to India's overall growth?
It just facilitates. So, it is, again, keeping pace with the global developments, and it is an essential thing to have a more governed regime around it, so that it enables the innovation that is happening in the payment space. So I think it's going to help the path that India is already taking in innovation and startup work.
All right, and talking about certain steps announced for startups, well, clearly FM admitted startups are going to be one of the core pillars of growth for Indian economy. Startups have been given certain importance there, and certain steps have been announced for them also. Do you think this is again going to give boost to startup ecosystem in the country, because a number of steps have already been announced, and a large hope is on startups now?
No, so it is the step in the right direction. Whether the markets would take cognizance of that, and what we've seen in terms of the rotation from technology that we saw this year, whether the market would, because of this news, the market would react immediately. Not really. So I wouldn't take it from a stock market perspective, but from an overall direction and economic growth perspective, absolutely, it should be accretive to the growth in startup ecosystem. When we talk around in the industry, absolutely, these were some of the asks that they had they had put down. And so these are the steps in the right direction. And when we talk about within the startup, again, if you look at some of the bellwether sectors which are coming up, emerging sectors which are coming up within that, so those themes have been highlighted, and that's very encouraging.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shroff, for joining us at this short notice from Mumbai on this. And WION now available in your country. Download the app and get all the news on the move.